Dear participants, today is the 13th day of the National Workshop on Research Methodologies in Geography. Till today, various research experts, various resource persons have delivered lecture related to basic and some advanced part of research. Today I am a speaker, so I thought that it is not necessary to introduce the resource person because you know me very well, and if you want to know further about me, you can Google it. Google will tell about me. So I thought that instead of spending some time, valuable time in introductory part, directly I will start the session. Today I am going to deliver a talk on practical approach to research design, and my special focus will be related to art of research writings. I don't know how to what extent I can complete within a stipulated time, but I will try to give you maximum possible. While preparing this lecture, I have considered that most of the participants are PG students or they are research scholars. So my lecture will be much more useful to the PG students and research scholars, and those who have already completed their PhD, they may also get some additional ideas and they can enrich their knowledge. I tried to arrange my lecture according to Bloom's taxonomy, and I am sure that at the end of the session or after the completion of the session, you can remember about what is research design, what is what are the significance, then what to do and don't in report writing. You will understand the features of research design, important concepts related to research design, fundamentals of research report writing. You can analyze, you can apply different research designs and can apply various methods, techniques while writing the reports. Also, you can analyze the steps of research design and report writing. You can evaluate the quality of the research design and report writing, and at last you can create your own research design and you can develop own method of successional writing. These are the some objectives in my mind while preparing this lecture, and I am sure you will enjoy this lecture. What is the research design? Actually, we had lecture of Dr. Tafel, and he has delivered some part of research design. He has presented conceptual background of research design, and only that part which is not covered by Dr. Tafel, I will focus on that part. What is research design? I observed that most of the times even person who has completed the PhD, he may not be aware about the what is the research design. He used all the steps while completing his research, but unfortunately sometimes he was not aware about that this was the research design, because in most of the books it has been written like that research design in a very difficult language. So today I will try to explain the research design with very simple language, very simple language. What is research design? Research design is a sequential arrangement of the conditions, because when you are selecting a research topic and when you are arranging various resources, when you are uh, setting the objectives, then defining the methodology and analyzing the data, there is a sequential arrangement, and that conditions, arrangement of that sequential conditions is nothing but is an research design. What is research design? It is a conceptual structure of the research. Suppose, for example, I am planning to analyze the flood situation of 2021 in relation to the Konkan. I should have conceptual clarification that which study region I am going to select, then what will be my objectives, what are the data sources will be available, which technique I am going to use for the analysis of the data. That conceptual clarification is nothing but research design. In another word, I can say research design is nothing but it is a blueprint of the research. For example, in image second, you can see this is the target and this is the source, and there are different ways to reach to the target. Similarly, I have given one additional example of a house. Suppose you are going to construct a house. For construction work, labors will be different, but planning will be yours, and it will depends upon how much space do you have, then what are your requirements, and how much financial resources available with you, or you can say at your credit. Accordingly, you may plan differently. Suppose I invited 4-5 persons. The 4-5 persons have same land parcel, but the construction of house or plan of the house will be different according to their need. In short, you can say research design is nothing but is a blueprint for the research. It means which study region you have selected, what are your objectives, who how did the research work on the same topic previously throughout the world, then is there is any hypothesis, what are the sources of data, and number of plannings are there, and to complete the research or to fulfill the objectives of research, and that blueprint is nothing but a research design. Research design mostly depends upon problem to be addressed. For example, I would like to say when you are submitting your research proposal, there is one point in the proposal always, that is organization of research work. What is this organization of the research work? This is nothing but this is the research design. You are planning that how you are going to organize your research activity for the betterment of the society. Because I might have already discussed about what is geography. Geography is a discipline that deals with the development of laws, theories and models through the application of modern technology with systematic analysis, or you can say the branch of knowledge that deals with the systematic investigation of physical, social, cultural of phenomena with the view to develop laws, theories and models is called geography. Because geography, the paradigm of geography has been shifting from time to time, and now geography has become the discipline of decision making. So while preparing a research design, it depends upon what problem you are going to address. Suppose someone is working on population, that is how population is changing throughout the world. Another person may work on flooding situation. One may work on deforestation. And number of research topics are there. It depends or it ends with our thinking, because geography is considered as a mother of all sciences, and we can take the any subject for research. It may be related to botany, we can cover it in biogeography. The topic may be related to geology, we can cover it in geomorphology. The topic related to society, we can cover it in social geography. So we have a wider scope as compared to other disciplines. So while preparing a research design, you should consider what is the problem that you are going to address, and your research design will be different from your problem. Suppose for example, you are conducting a research in related to coastal geomorphology, and another person is conducting the research related to population dynamics in the Konkan. Their research design may be different, and it should be different, then only quality of the research will be very good. Next, motive of the study. Also, research design depends upon why you are going to study. What are the various motives of the study? Someone want to publish a research paper. That may be a motive. Research paper. Another person is researching with the view to complete his PG project. Another person is researching for PhD dissertation or MPhil dissertation. Someone have minor research project, someone has major research project. So the research design will be different from the with the motive. Suppose for example, a person is willing to carry out a research on population dynamics of Maharashtra, and he is focusing, he is conducting the research activity for a publication of a research paper. Another person may conduct the same topic or may carry the same topic as a research topic for PhD dissertation. So what is your motive? Accordingly, the research design will be different. So we will discuss in detail concerning the same in the forthcoming slides. Next, location of the research activity. Where are you going to research the topic? Suppose for example, so there may be a person who is researching on flooding, or you can say there are 5 persons who are researching on flooding, or 4 persons researching on flooding. One is working in IIT, then one may work in any geography department, one may work in from home or any university. These are the various locations from where any person can carry out his research activity. Also, it may affect upon research design, because the person who is working in IIT for the same topic, he may have different resources available very easily and cost free, you can say, or in free manner. At that time their design may be different. Suppose I am working from home, I am trying to research the flood of 2021 of Konkan region, but I have the limitations that certain softwares may not be available with me, certain data that I may need to purchase, but that is not in my hand because I have financial constraints. Accordingly, your research design will be changed. Then data requirement. This is also one of the parameter which affects on the research design. For any research activity, the requirement of the data is a pre-necessary step, and one should plan what type of data is required for the conduction of the research. There are various sources of data. For a research topic, there may be need of primary data. There may be another research topic that maybe depends upon only secondary data, not need of primary data. And some research topics may be there, they based on both the primary and secondary data. So these points, what type of data is required, that we consider at the time of research design or preparing a research design. Suppose our topic is related to impact of COVID-19 situation with spatial extension. At that time, we may collect the primary data, and for the collection of primary data, where there are various methods and methodologies that already covered by the various research persons. You remind that I am not going to focus on which methodology should be applied or not to apply it. Research design depends upon what type of data we need or we need to collect. Next, sources of the data. What are the sources of data? Suppose we need primary data, then we may need to conduct the surveys. We may collect it through questionnaire, through schedule. If there is secondary data, what are the sources of the data? We may collect the population data from Census of India. There may be other sources that are not freely available. Suppose, for example, if you want to collect the information or data related to climatic parameters, at that time you may need to purchase it. Or for example, if you require the satellite data is necessary to be sometimes it is necessary to be purchased. So you should plan all these activities, and it is necessary for the effective research design. Then spatial and temporal extension of the study. For example, if you for the same topic, a person may work on entire India. Some persons may work at the state level, some may work at district level, some may work at tahsil level, even at village level. What is the spatial extension of the study? Suppose I am going to analyze the regional disparities in development, levels of development and regional disparity. At that time, we may consider what is the spatial extension of the study, what is the temporal extension of the study, and accordingly, we should plan the research design. For example, the person who is working at village level or village as a spatial unit of investigation for the research work related to population, and the person who is working as who has selected tahsil as a spatial unit of investigation, their requirement may be different, their data requirement may be different, their data analysis techniques may be different, and while preparing a research design, we should keep in mind what is the spatial extension and what is the temporal extension of our study, and these points we need to consider while preparing a research design. Okay. Then methods and methodology. These are two terminologies. Method is different and methodology is different. Method that you are using for a specific variable. For example, you are going to analyze the spatio-temporal variation of literacy. That will be method. And the entire procedure, it includes from data collection, data analysis, data representation. All these steps may be included in methodology. And what are the methods and methodology you are going to incorporate or you are going to apply for your research work? It will also affect on research design. Sometimes the person may be aware about the methods and methodology for the data collection and data analysis, and sometimes there may be a possibility that in case of experimental research, the person or researcher may not be aware about the methods and methodology in depth. He may develop his own method of data analysis or own methodology for that research topic. So methods and methodology also affects on the research design. Then technological requirement, that what are the recent technologies are required. For example, we want to analyze landslides in the Konkan region, which affected, which is the result of 2021 rainfall condition. So for that, technological requirement is there. Sometimes we may need some GIS software, some satellite data is required. Then there may be a specified softwares that are purposely developed only for the analysis of landslides, or certain models may be developed using computer technologies related to landslide analysis. We should have an idea what are the technological requirements to carry out that research activity. For any research, you should be aware about some of the important concepts, and I'm going to explain here only 4 to 5 concepts, and that may be very much helpful to you. One is variable. What is variable? Nilesh Wankhede already explained about this, so I'm not going to analyze in detail, but you should aware about the correlationship between variables, hypothesis testing, then other parameters and findings. In case of variable, there are 2 types of variable, dependent variable and independent variable. For example, suppose you have selected 2 variables, one is temperature and another one is rainfall. The temperature conditions may affect on rainfall conditions. At that time, temperature will be independent variable and the rainfall will be dependent variable. The rainfall condition of any place may be affected by other parameters such as temperature. Sometimes there are extraneous variables. What is extraneous variable? Suppose I am going to analyze the status of women in Delhi, and it is common judgment that the violence against women is higher in Delhi. So I have selected certain parameters, and accordingly I am going to collect the data. But there is one parameter we can say in sanskar उसे कहते हैं, संस्कार कहते हैं. That sanskar is affecting on the act that is performed by a male candidate. So it is not a part of our research that we should collect the data about the sanskar, but we need to collect, and that variable is called extraneous variable. And control variables, we may control it, we may use for experimental research, that is a control variable. Research hypothesis, also this part has been covered by Dr. Mandar Zaki. I am not going to give detailed insight about this, but only I will say hypothesis testing depends upon the quality of the variables. So I explain here research hypothesis. In case of research hypothesis, there are various types of research hypothesis. One is experimental hypothesis. Suppose I want to study the psychological impacts of COVID-19 situation by selecting spatial Tehsil as a spatial unit of investigation or district as a spatial unit of investigation. At that time, we may do experiment that what was the condition before and what is the condition in the latter stage. Some treatment is necessary to provide, and then only such type of hypothesis can be tested. Another one is non-experimental hypothesis, then null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. Mandar Zaki has already explained very nicely about research hypothesis. So I'm not going to give detailed insight about the same. What is treatment? Sometimes our assumptions or our hypothesis may depend upon certain conditions. We may select a group of persons or a community, and we may provide them treatment. A special type of training may give them, or instructions may be provided, and then again we may collect the data and test the hypothesis. That is treatment. It is also we should be aware about the treatment. Then generalization, these are the certain parameters or conceptual background, we should aware about the same. Then why research design is necessary? Because I already conveyed at the initial stage of this lecture, we can find number of doctorate fellows who have completed their research. Not only research, they have completed quality research. Their research quality, no problem at all. But even though they are not much more aware about the research design, because they weren't aware about that the procedures and techniques they are applying, these are the part and parcel of research design. So why research design is necessary? Because it may provides a path in while you are going to submit a research proposal. There you will submit one para about the organization of the research work, and it is universal that every research proposal you will find first 6 months review of literature, second 6 months you are going to collect the primary data, third 6 months you are going to select the secondary data. In that way, most of the persons are presenting the research design, but it is not a correct way. If you have a clear cut idea about your research, it means if you have the blueprint of your research, means if you have your research design, then your research activity will be completed within a very short span of time. I will give some clues, some techniques that you can apply, and you will complete your research work within a stipulated time only. Next, advanced planning. Why research design is necessary? Because advanced, you can do the advanced planning. Suppose you are planning for primary data. The planning for primary data collection, when it will be possible, when in your research design you have discussed in detail about what type of data is required to fulfill the objectives of your research. Then for data analysis, suppose you have collected primary data, secondary data, some remote sensing data may be there. Then considering the data, what are the techniques are necessary to analyze that data? And this advanced planning may be possible only after a proper research design. Then resource management. For any research activity, we need resources. What are the resources? For example, we want to collect primary data. I will say primary data, PD. For the primary data collection, we need money, means financial resources. For the data collection, we require manpower, means again it is a part and parcel of financial resources. After collecting that data, we need to analyze that data, means again we have to manage the various resources. And after analyzing the data, we need to write properly, though it typed in and bound it. So for the entire planning for resource management, research design is prerequisite. And through research design, you will find out what are the pay rates for the data collection processes, what type of documentation is necessary while data collecting and analyzing, because expert may ask to produce at the time of viva or your presentation. Then what are the equipments are available, what type of equipments are necessary to collect the data. For example, you are conducting a research activity regarding the coastal Maharashtra, and there you will find some sort of rocks samples, and you need to carbon dating of the same. At that time, various resources or equipments are necessary, and for that purpose research design is necessary. Sometimes you may require a training, because I am a person who don't know about the ArcGIS or who don't know about the QGIS. It means initially I have to go for training and I need to learn that techniques, that how I can utilize that techniques for the analysis of the data. So for resource management it is necessary. Again, special skills, then time banks are there, and number of components are there. I tried to explain very few here. For the resource management or research design is the prerequisite. Then firm foundation. I will say the ground of your research will be depends upon the quality of the research design. What is the foundation of your research? If your research design is very good, your research activity will be completed within time, within stipulated time, and quality of the research may be high. For example, if you have a proper planning, that is collection of primary data, yes, this is the primary data I require. In that you will focus on what are the variables that you have selected about your research topic, then data analysis techniques. With this you will have a firm foundation, and that firm foundation will be responsible for the quality research. Then quality enhancement is also depends upon the research design. For quality enhancement, we should focus on what is the relevance of the topic, what is the existence literature, or what type of research has been already carried out. It means you will focus on literature design, you will focus on sample design, data collection design, data analysis design, research writing design. N number of designs are there. Design is nothing but it is a blueprint, it is a plan to carry out your research activity. And if you have a proper research design, detailed research design with micro research designs, at that time you can achieve that quality, or quality enhancement is possible with this way only. The new addition to the field of knowledge, why we are researching. The main motive of the research, it should be to create laws, theories and models. Suppose I am going to research a topic on levels of development and regional disparity. I should create a developmental model, and that model should be applied throughout the world according to certain assumptions. For example, central place theory or other some theories or models have been developed. They have provided certain assumptions, and accordingly they have developed their models. Even concentric zone theory, multiple nuclei theory, these are the some of the examples of the models. Similarly, we should create our own model of development, and that is possible only after a proper research design. There are various types of research designs. First is sampling design. In sampling design, what are the methods you are going to select for the selecting atoms to be observed, or you can say for the variable selection, and the collection of the data. That is sampling design. Means you are going to conduct a sample survey. It will be stratified sampling technique, it will be random sampling technique, or it may be other snowball sampling. N number of sampling techniques are there. Dr. Gadkari madam has already focused on various sampling techniques. I am not going to focus on that. I am only giving an insight here that sampling design is one of the important part of research design, and quality of your research will be or maybe depend upon the quality of sampling design. Another one is observational design. What is observational design? It talks about the conditions under which observations to be made, or you can say assumptions. What are the your assumptions? Suppose you are going to develop any law theory model, you may consider certain assumptions, or you are going to collect the data and you have certain assumptions that will be part of observational design, or you are selecting the data, you are selecting the persons to be interviewed, and you have planned that you will visit these 4 persons in the evening only, because in the morning session they may not provide the realistic information, or there may be some persons they will provide realistic information in the morning session. In afternoon or in the evening they may not provide the realistic information. That is observational design, and quality of the data depends upon observational design, and ultimately it will affect on quality of your research. Next one is statistical design. It is a methods of data collection and data analysis. What are the various methods that you are going to use for the data collection? Because nowadays Google form can be used to collect the data. Even interview techniques are there, questionnaire is there, schedule is there, even some background information is there through which we can collect the data. And there are certain data analysis techniques. For example, suppose sometimes you are going to analyze the data, for example, population data, and you are calculating the growth of population. You will write the exponential growth rate, you will calculate the exponential growth rate of population by applying the equation given by someone else. Or you may find out your own equation to analyze the data, and that will be a part of statistical design. The operational design. Today, in the rest part, we are going to focus on operational design. Operational design is most necessary while conducting the research, because it talks about the overall design of the research, and it may have multiple micro designs. For example, literature design. What are the various techniques and technology that you are going to use for the literature, to carry out a literature, a research literature? Then there may be cost design. How much cost do you require to carry out your research activity? Writing design, referencing design, and number of designs are there, and these all will be a part and parcel of your operational design, and today we will focus on operational designs only. But before proceeding ahead, I would like to focus on features of a good research design. Good research design should be flexible, it should be appropriate, it should be efficient, economic, and so on. And there is not a standard definition of research design. Suppose I'm going to carry out a research activity, and if I am using the design created by someone else, at that time it may be a failure, because their research design was applicable to their research topic and their study area, and our topic, our study area is different. So at that time we may or we should have developed our own research design. Then there should be a smallest experimental error, because we are doing the experiments, and there should be a smallest experimental error in the research design. Suppose we have planned that initial 6 months we are going to utilize for the collection of primary data. Our data collection should be complete within that 6 months only. Then and then only we can complete our research within a stipulated time. Otherwise, it may not be possible to complete our research within a stipulated time. Then multiple micro designs. Before focusing on multiple micro designs and what type of research designs that should be applied or that should be used by you while conducting your research, I would like to focus that I'm a learner of geography. Since 2006 to 2021, 2006 to 2021, I am observing that in university, in any university, the situation may be same. If you find any proposal, it may be written that first 6 months detailed review of literature and basic reading, second 6 months collection of secondary data, third 6 months collection of primary data, fourth 6 months data processing, fifth 6 months data analysis, final writing, and sixth 6 months redrafting, final drafting, and submission of the thesis. Is it useful? Not at all. Because suppose there is a person who is researching the topic like Indian culture, that Indian festivals, I am of the opinion that Indian festivals have scientific background because we celebrate various festivals and they are based on scientific backgrounds, and I tried to research that topic. The research design, when I am focusing on Indian culture, will be different than when I am researching on population scenario of India. The research design of the topics like floods, then coastal hazards, then landslides will be different from each other, and it is not reflected at all in any research proposal. They all are copying the same first 6 months, second 6 months, third 6 months, because the topic like Indian culture may need more literature review, because we need to only read the various historical documents and we need to prove that will be the data. That historical documents will be the data. At that time, reading of various documents may require more time than other methodologies or collection of primary data, secondary data, and data processing. So we need to create multiple micro designs. Here I am going to suggest you that how we should create our own effective research design. This is my opinion, and very recently I have suggested the same to my research scholars, that our research design should be based according to our objectives, and that scholar should have this table, and if he has this table, at that time he may complete or she may complete his research work very effectively within a stipulated time only. For example, for the PhD work, generally we may write 4 to 7 objectives as per the standards. So you should plan your research design according to these points. Initially, you need to write your objective. For example, suppose you are researching the topic that forest cover change, and your objective may be to find out the spatial and temporal pattern of forest cover change. I am not going to write in detail. To find out the spatial and temporal pattern of forest cover change. That will be your objective. Now my question is, to find out the spatial and temporal pattern of forest cover change, what type of data is required? You write down in this column that you may require the satellite imagery, you may require the topo sheets, or you may require primary data for ground validation. That you will write down in data requirement. Then you will write about sources of data. What are the probable sources of your data? Suppose I am going to use the list3 image. It may be freely available to download, or it may be required to purchase. From where we can get that satellite image? That is the source. Suppose we are going to conduct the primary survey, that will be the source. Some toposets may be available to pre-download from the websites, that will be source. You need to write down what are the sources of data in that column only. When you will collect the data, how you are going to analyze the data? I mean, what are the various methods of data analysis? Suppose I have satellite image, what initially I will do? I will perform LULC analysis, land use, land cover analysis, and there only I may select the only forest cover change, how forest has been shifted. Initially that LULC is in raster format. I may need to convert the same into vector format. Then I may need to group it, and I can calculate the area, how area is changing with the various techniques like overlay analysis or other techniques that may be available with the GIS. That will be our methods of data analysis. Technical requirement. Suppose for example I need to, or I intend to carry out LULC analysis, I need the ADAS imaging software. That is the technical requirement. It may not be possible to me to purchase that software, but there may be a department or university with which that software is available. So I can go there, I can do my calculations, I can perform the experiment, and it will be helpful to me. That is the technical requirement. Trainings required. Suppose I am not master in ADAS imaging, but I need to learn. That will be part of your trainings requirement. And what are the resources available with you? If you put the various objectives in this format, I am sure that your research will be completed within a stipulated time only. Otherwise, I am observing that most of the research students, they don't have to present the material in RSs. So I hope that will be this will be very much input to you. Then after preparing your research design or your plan, you should have assessed the same. Is it correct? At that time you may get the expert opinion. You can show the table that this is the my research design. I have prepared the same. I have 7 objectives. For each objective, this is the data requirement. These are the various methods of data analysis, and these are the resources available with us. And for this objective or for this analysis, we need to go to Central University of Karnataka, Central University of Tamil Nadu, because there only these facilities are available. Or I may need to go the IRS, Indian Institute of Remote Sensing, and there I will analyze this data. For that purpose, we need to assess, and for assessment, we may get the expert opinion. Then only it will be helpful. And at last, you should have the source analysis of your own research design. That is, what are the strengths of your research design? What are the weaknesses of your research design? What are the further opportunities that you have in your research design? And what challenges you may face to complete your research work by considering this research design. That type of source analysis for your research design and research topic is necessary, and accordingly you can have the plan B. Now I am going to focus on a research design of a paper. Then I will focus on research design of a proposal and dissertation. My main target group is the PG students and research scholars, those who are very new in the area. So I don't know either the persons, those who have already doctoral degree, either will get few new ideas or not. While writing the research paper, initially you should have a very clear title. I'm not going to talk in detail about the titling of the research topic because Dr. Surendra Thakur Desai very elaboratively explained how to give a title for the research work or for a research work. But I would like to only comment that your research title should be apt one. It should not be so lengthy and it should not have many clauses. It should represent the problem as well as study area and if possible the methodology or technique that you are going to use, because the application of geospatial technology, that is the methodology. But I am of the opinion that application of geospatial technology should not be in the title. This is my personal opinion. I some maybe agree with me or some may not be agree with me, but the title should have the clear cut idea. We should get the clear cut idea what is the paper about and for which study region it has been carried out. For any research topic, initially you need to write the introduction. What is the introduction? Introduction is an preliminary information, or you can say preamble to your research topic. And while writing introduction, you should take care, utmost care. But suppose, for example, I am writing India is a developing country. India is a developing country. Immediately, I should give a reference. What is the source? India is developing country. Who told this? That is India is developing country. The current situation of India may be different because we are taking the sentence. That book was written in 1967 and same sentence we are taking and without proper citation. It should not be in the introduction. So while writing the introduction, we should take care about the citations. Introduction should be apt and introduction should provide a preamble to your research topic. Next. Then another point should be there, that is problem identification, selection and justification of the topic. I given here oblique. Some may write problem identification, some may write selection and justification of the topic. It means why do you have selected that topic? Suppose I am researching the forest cover change in the Western Ghat. Why I have selected that topic? What is the utility of that topic? What is the relevance of that topic at international level, national level, state level, local level? Means from local to global, how that topic will be useful for the sustainable development of the society in general and nation in particular. That we should focus in under problem identification and selection and justification of the topic. Then study region, it is my observation that most of the thesis it is written or in papers also. It is the same sentences are there. Ratnagiri district is located along the western coast of Maharashtra. The latitudinal extension of the district is XXX to XXX, and longitudinal extension of the district is X to Y east. Finish. And in all papers, I am observing that same sentences are repeated. It should not be there. While writing the information about study region, you should write latitudinal, longitudinal information, brief information about the physiographic and other conditions of the study region, and you should focus on how this location is influencing a topic, or you should have a concrete reason that why you have selected Ratnagiri district, why not Sindhudurga. Suppose I have selected Ratnagiri district to focus on sustainable tourism development planning, then I should have reason why Ratnagiri district, why not Sindhudurga or Raigad district or any other district from Maharashtra, or how my study will be beneficial to that study region. What are the special characteristics of the region that वो मुझे ऐसा हुआ कि मैंने इसके लिए ही ये टॉपिक लिया है. That's why only I have selected this topic. This information we need to write under study region. Then review of literature. Dr. Samruddhi Chavan madam very nicely elaborated about the review of literature, and she explained very nicely what are the sources of review of literature. You need to write, or you need to take a literature review for research paper also. For example, I read some research papers related to population. For example, population of Kolhapur district. And within a span of 3 to 4 years, there are 3 to 4 papers were published on population of Kolhapur district. That should be reflected in your research paper, that I am going to analyze the population dynamics, and this population dynamics has been explained by these scholars previously, and what was their motive or what was their focus, that should be also focused in under review of literature. Research gaps. What are the research gaps? Again, I will talk about the population of Kolhapur district. Suppose after the review of literature, we should focus on research gaps. What are the research gaps? There may be a possibility that population of Kolhapur district has been studied by some other scholar. We are focusing on spatiotemporal patterns of population. This study may be conducted by other scholars, but even though there may be certain gaps that we need to focus, that I'm going to use the GIS technology, and till today no one has made an attempt to analyze the population using GIS technology. That will be your research gap. You are going to find out the pattern of population beyond the political boundaries, and you are considering the linear patterns, that development of the highways, development of the railways, etc., and how these lines are affecting on distributional pattern of population. That is your focus, and that has not attempted till today by any researcher. That will be your research gap. Similarly, related to your topic, you need to find out the research gaps, and to find out the research gaps, a thorough analysis or a proper analysis of literature review is necessary. Without literature review, it is not possible to find out the research gaps. Then aims and objectives, not aims, aim and objectives, because sometimes researchers make mistakes. They write aims, not aims, only aim. Every research should have only one aim, and it may have multiple objectives. But for research paper, number of objectives should not be more than 2, because very recently there was a conference of Deccan Geographical Society, and I found that one paper was there. They have provided 4 objectives. This is not a way. 4 objectives means you can complete your MPhil thesis. For research paper, only one objective should be there. In certain cases, second objective may be assigned. Now we will differentiate aim and objective. What is aim and what is objective? Suppose title of your research thesis is spatio-temporal patterns of population in Kolhapur district. This is your thesis title in Kolhapur district. I would like to write in short. What will be aim? The aim of the proposed research paper or aim of the research paper is to analyze the spatio-temporal patterns of population in Kolhapur district. That is only aim. Then it may have multiple objectives. For example, if you are conducting the research for MPhil, for PhD, then to analyze the pattern of population distribution, growth pattern, literacy pattern, density pattern, occupational structural pattern, etc. N number of patterns are there, but writing the M should be 1, and it should be linked with your title. And while writing the objectives, Dr. Thakur Desai already cleared that every time we should write objective, or we should start the objective from 2 with the word 2. Then hypothesis. It is not necessary that every research paper should have hypothesis, but if possible, and if our research is experimental, we have 2 variables and we are going to find out the correlation between these 2 variables. At that time, hypothesis can be tested, and researchers should focus on hypothesis also. But there should be hypothesis, only one hypothesis should be there for research paper, and if we write the hypothesis, at that time hypothesis testing should be carried out. Otherwise, I saw some dissertations, they provided 2-3 hypotheses, but in the next part of that thesis they have not tested the hypothesis. At that time there is no meaning to provide the hypothesis. Then research methodology. While writing about the research methodology, you should focus on what are the methods of data collection and methods of data analysis. And in methods of data analysis, various statistical techniques you can explain in detail with their meaning. Then various GIS technologies and other technologies that you have employed for the analysis of data, you should give the detailed information about the methodology, because no one going to read your entire paper. All the persons like to read only introduction or initial that abstract, then will read your objectives, research gaps and methodology. Your results and discussion the person may not read, but if he likes your methodology, at that time he may read your entire paper. So you need to focus on research methodology. Then you will focus on discussion and analysis, that how there is the pattern, what is the spatial and temporal pattern of population in Kolhapur district, for example. And then if there is any change in the pattern of population as an impact of this road network, railway network, or any other parameters, suppose if there is any industrial development and as a result population distributional pattern is changing, that type of discussion and detailed analysis you need to explain under discussion and analysis, then findings and suggestions, then references. Under references, you need to focus on cited work and further readings, because you may have cited some work and there may be some further readings. You provide the list separately. Then footnotes and endnotes. In tomorrow's session, I am going to deliver a talk how to use Microsoft Word very effectively for writing footnotes and endnotes, and that will be practical session, and I think that will be more useful to you. This is the design of the research paper. I'm sure this will be very much useful for the research scholars and for the PG students to write a research papers, or it may have added some inputs for the persons those who have already doctoral degree. Next, I'm going to talk about design of the research proposal. Again, it should have introduction. I'm not going to explain in detail because already I talked about introduction. Then problems and justification of the topic, that is selection and justification of the topic. Operational definitions and terms and concepts that you need to explain in your proposal. Suppose my research topic is renewable energy development in Western Maharashtra or in Vidarbha. At that time, I may need to provide some operational definitions related to renewable energy resources. So that you will write under operational definitions and terms and concept. This study region, under study region you will focus on selection and justification of the study region, that why you have selected Vidarbha for the analysis of renewable energy resources, why not other parts of Maharashtra. Then review of literature, I have already explained, and if you want to know further about more about the review of literature, please go through the lecture of Dr. Samruddhi Sawan. Then research gaps. For research gaps, for a research proposal, you need to go meticulously. Now what is happening? The universities conduct PET examination. Afterwards, results declared, I can say 1 month, and after 1 month immediately researcher is need to, or researcher is advised to submit the research proposal. So within a month it may not be possible to write a detailed research proposal with a due focus on research gaps. So it will be my advice to you all students, if you are interested in research, consider this design that I am presenting here and start working from now. The PET may be conducted after 6 months, no problem at all. If your proposal is ready, at that time any research guide can guide you, and it will be very helpful to go for research degree or doctoral degree research work. Then aim and objectives. I have already talked about this aim and objectives, but for the research proposal, suppose you are writing a research proposal for PhD degree, at that time the number of objectives should be between 4 to 7. It should not be 13, 14, 15, 20, because last year I have seen a research proposal that has 21 objectives. It is not possible to complete 21 objectives. It means you need to write 21 chapters. This may not be possible. That research work may not be come into reality. If you want that your research work should be applied, then it should be complete within a stipulated time. Then restrict the number of objectives to between 4 and 7. Hypothesis, I already talked about the same. Then propose research methodology, I also talked about the same. What is the difference between writing the research methodology in proposal and in a research paper or in a dissertation? While writing research methodology in research proposal, you will write in future tense every time that this is the proposed, not present. Even writing about for the suppose you are setting some objectives, at that time you can say the main aim of the proposed, not present, because I have seen some proposals, they have written present research. This is not present research, this is the proposed research, and that will be possible only after the getting sanction from the RAC and RRC. So while writing, you should take care that write the proposal in future tense only. Then research designs. Research designs mean organization of the your research work, and I would like to suggest you that forget about first 6 months, second 6 months, third 6 months, fourth 6 months. That will not be much more useful. Instead of you focus on what is the objective, then data requirement, then methods of data collection, sources of data, methods of data analysis, resources available, etc. That slide I have already presented. You use that format for providing research design, and it will definitely appreciated by the various experts. Then propose chapter scheme. While writing chapter scheme, you just focus on or you try to link between research objectives and your chapter scheme. Suppose, for example, generally in geographical research, first topic is already always devoted to introduction, or you can say preamble to the research. Second topic is study region. I'm going to talk in detail about this, how to write the topic of study region. And then you try to link between objective number 1, topic number 3, objective number 2, topic number 4, objective number 3, topic number 5, objective number 4, topic number 6. Same way, one objective, one topic. Or sometimes if the objectives are interlinked, at that time you can also club two objectives in a topic. That is proposed topic scheme or chapter scheme you need to provide at the time of submission of the research proposal. Then bibliography, again you will focus on cited work, further reading. Cited works means that you have cited some concepts, some sentences, some part you have taken from that research topic or from that book, that will be under cited work. And further readings means there are some additional resources that you have read, but you have not taken any material from that research paper, book, or any website material, that will be under further readings. Then again you may provide footnote, endnotes, etc. This is the design of a research proposal. Every researcher is required to submit research proposal in this format only. And I would like to advise you, kindly note down this format and start working from today itself, because there are so many students are there, they are PG students, and for the next semester they need to submit the or they may have the dissertation. They need to work on this research proposal from today itself, and you at the end of the this workshop you need to present the research proposal. So this is my advice to prepare a research proposal using this research design. Then design of a research dissertation. I already talked about that it should have the introductory chapter, then geographical and socio-economic settings of the region, then internal topics, then conclusion and findings, then the appendix, so some information you may need to give in appendices, and then focus on book bibliography. This is the design of the dissertation. Then initial pages are also there. Before introduction, you need to write acknowledgement. Then it has special format while writing the acknowledgement. Then you need to provide table of content. You need to provide a list of tables, list of figures, list of photo plates. This is the design of your dissertation or your thesis, and you need to use the same while completing your PG dissertation or MPhil or PhD dissertation. I will only take 10 more minutes and we will conclude at 5:30. See, this is the first topic, introduction. What is happening? I will give some practical examples. I saw that researchers are just copying the material and pasting it in introduction, that they have read only 10 articles, and from that 10 articles they are taking 10 sentences. Now they may cite, give the reference that this is by Patil 2021, okay, and only information is given. This is not a right way to write the introduction. You should write the introduction in your own language. You may take ideas from other experts or other resources with due citation, but you need to write in your own language. I hope and I am sure that you will take care of the same. Operational definitions we need to provide, because if we write the research proposal, most of the material of research proposal will be helpful while writing the first topic. So you take efforts while preparing a research proposal that will be helpful in effective writing of your first topic. Same points are there, so I'm not going to discuss. I will only discuss that points that are not covered in this lecture previously. In the first topic, we should focus on introduction, operational definition, selection of the topic, study region, review of literature, research gaps, aim and objectives, hypothesis, research methodology. Then chapter scheme you need to provide, and then you will focus on limitations of the study. Generally, what is happening, most of the persons I saw that in very initially they write the first topic, but I am of the opinion that first topic cannot be finalized until and unless completion of your research work. When you will write the last topic, that is findings and suggestions, then only the first topic can be finalized, because there may be certain changes in research methodology. The hypothesis that were put forth for the testing, they may have certain changes. So don't finalize the first topic very initially. You may finalize, or you can finally, if you can finalize the topic at the end of research, that will be more better. And again, references. Okay. My special focus is on second topic, because I have read various dissertations. For example, if you have selected Sangli district as a study region, you will find so many theses are there on Sangli district. Some may have worked on grape, some may have worked on agriculture, some might have worked on drought. A number of variables are there that can be studied. And I observed that the second topic is copied from first thesis to second, second to third, third to fourth. If you visit the library of Kolhapur University or in any other university, it may happen that the geographical and socio-economic background is copied from one dissertation to another dissertation. It should not be like this. Why? Suppose you are writing about location and physiographic information or any other information. Your focus should be, suppose I am working on a flood or flood situation. At that time, how location is responsible for flooding? How physiography is responsible for flooding? Initially, you will provide the latitudinal and longitudinal information of the study region. You will provide the locational maps and other matters, but you will write in your own language how location is responsible for flooding situation, or how location will be beneficial for the development of solar energy plants, for the installation of solar energy plants. How location will be responsible or is responsible for drought condition. You try to link these parameters, that is physical setting, socio-cultural, economic parameters with your topic. Then only there will be a creative writing, because we should have a creative writing. Then only our research will give satisfaction to us. Otherwise, degree will be awarded. There is no use of degree. There should be satisfaction. In physical components, we need to analyze the physiography, slope, drainage system pattern, geology, soil, natural vegetation, natural water resources, etc. N number of variables under physical components that we need to analyze. But again, I am of the same opinion that you try to correlate with your research topic. Suppose someone is talking about the distributional pattern of population. So how this physiography is affecting on distributional pattern of population? You will, in the latter stage, physiography may be used as a base layer to overlay the distributional pattern of population. So physical components, while writing physical components, we should take care of this type. Then social components, that is social structure, social customs, settlements, settlement pattern, etc. Again, what you will do? You will try to correlate social structure with your research topic. Suppose I am researching women related violence. So in that case, social structure is responsible for women related violence. Sometimes there may be a correlation between social structure and the impact of floods, because if you are aware about the structure of the villages, you will find that temple is at the central part. Then mostly in the southern part, the persons belongs to scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. They live in southern part of that settlement. And this pattern may be responsible for more impact of floods, or there are sometimes some settlements are outside of the main village. In Marathi it is called Gauthan, and some settlements are beyond the Gauthan, and that is more affected by the flooding situation. So these are the parameters we need to consider while writing. Then population, again the same pattern, that how population is going to affect on your research topic. Economic components, political components, religious and cultural components, etc. I am not going to limit here only. We need to talk beyond, because it may be only some parameters I have explained here, but while writing we need to focus on how political component of that particular region is affecting on this particular condition. It means which condition? Your research topic, your area of interest. And then only there may be a proper flow of creative writing in your research. Internal units, then conclusion and findings. While writing conclusion, you should initially focus on introduction, that is the preamble. Then what are your findings and what are your suggestions? Also, I am of the opinion that while providing findings, if you try to correlate with objectives, that will more better. If you try to correlate with your objectives, that will be more better. That is objective number 1, and this is the finding. Objective number 2, this is the finding. In this way, if you write your dissertation, that will be more useful and more applicable, and it will give more satisfaction. Do's and don'ts during writing. I will focus on this point tomorrow, because tomorrow I have another session, and in that session I am going to talk about use of computer technologies in creative writing, or you can say in effective writing of research. So at that time I will talk about this do's and don'ts while research, because we are delayed by 2 minutes. Thank you very much for bearing me for approximately 1.5 hours. And I also extend my sincere thanks to all the organizers, those who have given me an opportunity to share my views, my thoughts with you all. Thank you. Thank you very much. If you have any query, any doubt, or if you require any further clarification, please feel free to ask me. Thank you. Please.